Hello everyone! Just finishing getting the stream all set up. This is just going to be a kind of casual practice session. Tomorrow is the big live stream concert, so I thought I would just stream a little bit today and do some practicing and warming up, kind of like a little dress rehearsal. So I'm just going to tune and get set up. All right, cool, people are here. I'm just getting everything set up. So if you just popped in, I'm basically just gonna be kind of practicing and warming up and getting ready for my big fundraising live stream, which is happening tomorrow afternoon, roughly around the same time. And I have another computer set up to look at the chat, so I'm gonna be trying to respond to you guys as much as I can. It just might mean stepping out of the frame sometimes. Oh good, I'm glad the stream is doing okay. I did mess with some settings and try to get things sounding as good as I could. Streaming is not easy, to be totally honest. It's 3:30 where I am, and I think I started trying to figure out my streaming setup around 2 o'clock. And I'm so exhausted from dealing with streaming details that now playing the cello, I'm like, I'm so tired. But it's good, I gotta practice, I gotta do this. So if any problems with audio or anything, you notice any issues, let me know and I'll see what I can fix, but hopefully everything is working well now. Actually, I was meaning to find my rosin. And sorry for the clutter in the corner here, cases on cases. Here we go, rosin. All right, hello people who are entering. Feel free to say hi in the chat and interact, whatever you want to do. I'm going to be trying to check in with the chat as much as I can. All right. It's kind of a noisy day in my neighborhood too. You might end up hearing some construction sounds or something. It's all part of the experience. All right, so maybe I'll get to like playing and warming up, and then as more people come in and have questions, I'll talk some more too. All right, I'm just gonna do a couple scales, get kind of comfortable. And I see that my scales have awoken my kitty, who was sleeping on the couch all day. Hello, Daisy. Hello, my little one. this is Daisy. She's a very important part of the experience. I'll put these papers for her. Do I know how to play any Beethoven? This is my water. So actually, my string quartet, Emergence Quartet, performed one of the Opus 18 quartets by Beethoven back in December. And that was actually so much fun. I love early Beethoven quartets, and I have not played repertoire that late on my Baroque instrument before. So it was a really cool experience, actually. I really enjoyed it. There might be, I can't remember if we ended up putting any of those on YouTube. But if we did, they would be under the Emergence Quartet playlist on my channel. But yeah, that was super fun. I haven't played any Beethoven sonatas on this Baroque instrument before. I haven't played any solo Beethoven music in a long time. But the quartets are super fun. I love them. All right, I'm gonna play a couple more scales, and then I'll just dive right in because I need to practice for tomorrow. There's the joy of gut strings right there. Oh, if Mozart is one of your favorites, definitely played some Mozart in the string quartet also. We did Mozart Dissonance Quartet, so I'm pretty sure, and also the Queen of the Night aria. If you didn't know, so the Queen of the Night aria, of course, you know, from an opera, there actually is a transcription of it for string quartet that was written around Mozart's time. In France, I think the transcription was done. So my quartet played the transcription of the Queen of the Night aria, and it's really cool because it's not an arrangement that was done in recent years. It was done during Mozart's time, so it's a great arrangement. And there is a recording of that on my channel if you go to the Emergence Quartet playlist. Okie doke, so repertoire. So if you don't know, I'm doing a big live stream formal concert tomorrow, which means I'll be talking and answering questions, but I'm not going to be constantly stopping and talking like I am in these practice sessions. It'll be more like a concert, but I will talk in between pieces. So the fundraising concert tomorrow, I'm going to be playing a lot of my usual solo Baroque cello repertoire that I play on the channel, and that's what I'm going to be playing today, kind of getting in the zone for. So I'm going to be playing some early 17th century pieces by Vitali. I'm going to play Bach's First Cello Suite, heavily requested, and also some Etudes by Dotzauer, which are kind of actually classical, but work really nicely on a Baroque instrument like this. So today I'm just going to be kind of going through those pieces and practicing them, as opposed to just blasting through them. I'm going to be actually kind of trying to work on them a little bit. So I think I'll start with Dotzauer, especially because they're Etudes. They're nice pieces to start with. So let's see what we got here. All right, I'm going to start with number 4 here. It's in E minor, and I'm going to play everything today a little under tempo. I'm going to stop and work on things if I want to work on things. So it really is like kind of an eye into my practice session rather than a performance. But if you have questions with how I'm practicing something or why I'm stopping and doing something, you know, feel free to ask those questions. And if you wonder why I'm looking off into the distance, I have a computer over there that has the chat on it, so I'm trying to keep up, you know, if you guys have questions. Yeah, I like this little etude. One of the things I try to do when I'm practicing, if you're someone who's heard my playing before, you probably know that I like to be fairly creative and expressive with my interpretations of various pieces. And I think, it's kind of hard to just turn off musicality altogether, I do find when I'm practicing, trying to play things metronomically is really useful. When I was studying, I would have my teacher say, if you want to take time, great, but you need to be able to play it in time first. So kind of the first place I go when I'm practicing something is trying to play it just metronomically, because you find out a lot of things once you're forced to sort of play in time. So a lot of what I'm going to be doing today is playing things, a little bit, I don't want to say stale, but just a calm, simple interpretation so that I can focus on technique and left hand and bow and everything. And for the real music, you'll have to come back tomorrow. So that was number 4 by Dotzauer. I'm going to go to number 5. Pretty similar. They're both in 6/8. That one was E minor. This one's A minor. Similar ideas. And these etudes are really great for warming up. I was waiting. I was like, I'm playing so slow. I haven't played a single wrong note. It happened eventually. Yeah, and I always say, I talk about this a lot, playing things at different tempos. You know, so many tempos can work for a given piece, but your phrasing and your articulation is probably going to need to change at different tempos. So at that nice slow tempo I was doing for this fifth Etude by Dotzauer, I wanted to play legato. But if I go faster, I'm definitely going to want to shorten it up. And of course, the interest really comes when you start combining legato with short notes. So it's always a balance, but I have to say, that if I'm going to be doing off the string, shorter bow strokes, that's something I need to practice. And I love practicing on open strings. When you're practicing anything with the bow, just take the left hand out and really get the feeling for it just in your right hand. Alright, let's keep moving along. So I start practicing some hard stuff. We're still going to stay in Dotzauer for a little longer, but they do get a little more involved. Let's see. Number 13. This one's really cute. But it has some good bow technique things that require a little bit of control on the right side. So I'm going to go slow and see what there is to talk about with this one. This is Dotzauer Étude number 13. there's already some stuff I want to work on. So once the string crossings get the most involved, like when you really have to be going from A to G or C really fast and keeping a line, that's where I think the bow technique gets the most complicated. So let's see. Let me try this a little slower, and what I like to do for string crossings is actually have like a freeze moment where I change from the A to the lower string, whatever it is. So. And here's where it gets the most complicated. Yeah, so, I think a lot of modern cellists, when they play this etude, would not opt to go to the A string for some of this passage, like this. I think a lot of people would prefer third position. Yeah, it is, I will say, straight up, it's a little easier in position, but I just love going to the A string when I can. I love the timbre of the gut A string. Hello, Daisy. So, I don't know, I make it a little harder for myself sometimes because I want to play on the A string, but what can you do? Everybody has their taste. Keep going now. Just kidding, that needs to be F natural. Yeah, okay, now that I did that, let's see if I can do this whole thing a little faster. This is like turbo practicing. I'm like practicing each of these pieces for about 5 minutes and then trying to play them through. But to be fair, I do know a lot of these. I've played them before, I've practiced them before. If this was new repertoire, I would obviously need to practice a lot more. By the way, she's finally been awoken from her nap thanks to my cello playing. Okay, so now that I see that there are over 20 people watching, in case you tuned in, I just want to say, hey, hi, thanks for being here. This is an informal kind of practice session for my formal live stream that I'm doing tomorrow at roughly this time, a little earlier, 2 o'clock Eastern time. In the States. I'll be streaming tomorrow as a fundraiser for my relocation from Boston to Los Angeles. And I'm going to be playing all the repertoire that I'm playing today, but it'll be more formal. I'll actually be playing things from start to finish, but I will still be looking at the chat and answering questions and stuff tomorrow. So if you happen to be around tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow roughly this time or a few hours earlier, definitely tune in for that. But if you can't make it, I have a GoFundMe set up that's going to be facilitating any kind of donations or tips that you want to give me for these streams and to also help with my move. So if you're interested, you can check it out at gofundme.com/EmilyPlaysCello. The link is also in the description of this video. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm going to keep practicing and talking about what I'm practicing. Feel free to say hi in the chat or just, ask your questions, whatever you want to do. All right, so I'm going to play this Dotzauer Étude number 13 a little faster now that I've done some turbo practicing and see how it goes. I love these études. They're so cute, right? We think of them as exercises, but they're totally sweet little pieces. Just checking up on what you guys are saying. Hi everyone. Thank you guys for stopping by and your nice comments. Yeah, I really like doing these streams. I'm glad you guys are able to tune in. Oh no, someone gave me a thumbs down. How dare they? All right. Okay, so is that my last Dotzauer? That was the third one. Do I have a fourth Dotzauer Étude? Let's see through my pile of stuff on the floor. Let's see what else is here. Oh yeah, I have this other one. This would be worth practicing. Okay, so this will be the last Dotzauer, and then I will move into non-Étude repertoire. I made that comment about the thumbs down, and then someone else gave one. Haters, don't watch the streams. You are not welcome here. Unless you want to actually talk about why you're thumbs downing, and then we can have a discussion about it. But otherwise, don't just sit here and thumbs down my stream. Don't you have something better to do? I'm sure you do. What do I mean by cute? To me, a cute piece is just something that's charming. It's not too heavy and serious. It's lighthearted. That's how I see most of the Dotzauer Études. They're not trying to be really serious, heavy pieces. They're meant to be exercises, but they happen to have sometimes nice little melodies and nice writing also. All right. Okay, so this is number 17 from Dotzauer. This one's a little bit more tricky. So we'll see. I'll practice this one a bit, and then we will move on to either some Dall'Abaco or maybe some Bach, because I know everybody likes to hear Bach. I knew I was going to mess that measure up. A lot of fingering options here. Alright, I think I got that. Let's see if I can do it with the slurs. Okay, I'm going to do that again. Yeah, I like that one too. So, I think for tomorrow I'm going to be playing 4 Dotzauer Études, all the ones that I just played, into the pile. Alright. Maybe I'll do some Dall'Abaco next. Yeah, I mean, people, so if you're wondering about the audio quality, I know this sounds different than my actual YouTube videos, and if you don't know anything about live streaming, especially like on YouTube, it's very complicated. It's way more complicated than it should be, in my opinion, because now, you know, you can go live on Facebook and go live on Instagram from your phone, and it's really simple, so it seems like, oh, live is, you know, a really simple thing. Doing it on YouTube is pretty complicated. I have special software that I have to use. I can't do it over Wi-Fi. I have to plug into my internet. I have to set up a microphone, get the camera. There are a lot of technical settings. I think when you stream live on things like Instagram and Facebook, it's all just kind of automatically built in to be done from your phone and be simple. That's not the case on YouTube. And so unfortunately, I've been doing so many different things. I actually have a new computer that I'm using for this stream. Really trying to get the live stream as good quality as I can, but I know the cello does not sound the same as something that's been recorded ahead of time and then that's had production done to it. You know, like on all my YouTube videos I add reverb and I do audio mixing. I of course can't do that in this situation. It's just a microphone, and then because it's coming to you live, the quality does get kind of a little bit not so great anymore just by the nature of streaming. So that's just what it is right now, you know, until I can figure out some more complicated, fancy ways to get it sounding even better. So yeah, so the quality is what it is, but hopefully you guys can still enjoy the music and enjoy the fact that we get to do it live. And hopefully as technology improves and as my ability to live stream improves, the streams will just get better and better. Okie doke, let's go to Dall'Abaco. Alrighty. So if you don't know about Dall'Abaco, his father was a little bit more well-known than this guy. Joseph Marie Clement Dall'Abaco was a cellist, and he wrote some pieces for solo cello around the time of Bach, roughly. But they don't sound like Bach cello suites. I think they have a totally different flair about them. But they are written for an unaccompanied cello, and they are from the Baroque period, specifically the 18th century. So let's play a little of this. This is number 3. It's one of my favorites, and like I said, this is a practice session, so I'm not going to be playing these pieces like I'm performing them. I'm going to be playing them like I'm practicing them. So I'm going to be playing kind of in time, focusing on technique, left hand, stopping when I need to. So that's the deal for today. Hi, James. Give this video a thumbs up. 2 haters gave it a thumbs down. Fifths are always so gnarly, right? There we go. Any string player knows what it's like to have to play fifths. Fifths and thirds. Why can't we just play sixths all the time, right? So much easier. All right, I'm gonna back up a little bit. Whenever you're playing in a hard key, this is an E flat, practicing double stops even when you don't have double stops is really useful. Like I just got to third position and I thought, oh, am I all in the right spot? Just knowing that you really feel like, okay, across all the strings, I'm in the temperament that I want to be in, and I'm in the key. I'm in tune and in the key. So that's the first half. And then the second half is kind of like a development section, so we start to get more accidentals, more interesting harmonies, and lots of arpeggio things. Great left-hand exercise for the next part. listening to somebody else tune. I don't mind someone tuning. I mean, tuning a string instrument feels similar to what I do, but I personally love the sound of a harpsichord being tuned. I don't know if you've ever heard it before, but there's just something about these playing two notes slightly different and then slowly edging up the next one. I just love the sound of the harpsichord. I don't know. I find the sound of a harpsichord being tuned to be very calming. So the trills are written in for the most part, though looking at this, which is an Urtext edition that I'm using, the trills are in brackets, and I think the manuscript actually might be in the back of this book. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, they are. Cool. This edition, I think, is out of print. Oh, this is not, this is like other stuff back here. But if you are interested in these Dall'Abaco pieces, let me see what I'm showing you here. Yeah, this is the white Prince edition. It's great, and it does come with the manuscript. The manuscript is on imslp.org, but it's very hard to read, so most people are happy to have this modern print. Oh, what's great about it is there's no or very few pieces of editorial nonsense. It's mostly just the notes. But they have here, the trills are in brackets, which leads me to believe that they're not in the original. I know I have the manuscript here somewhere. I'm just going to see if I can find it quickly. So much music everywhere. Wow, I think I just found it. I'm proud of myself. Okay, here, and this comes with the edition that I was talking about. Oh, and a really nice picture. It's always great to look at this stuff. So yes, now here's the manuscript. Let's see if the trills are actually in here. Wait, number 5. Where's number 3? Okay. Oh, there we go. I can see why people... Oh, okay. It looks like... Where does number 3 start? Here we go. Okay. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. I'm going to attempt to hold it up. So, it looks like he writes in a little grace note for the first ones, but later on, he actually does write TR for a trill. So I think what the editors did was they decided just do a trill all the time. So I guess what's technically written for this beginning part is... But the actual is written in. So what's actually written is... Oops. So putting the trill just adds a couple more flips, and I think it works nicely. Especially because it's not a crazy fast tempo. You can get in a couple good turns under trill. I like the sound of it. So, anyway, back to what I was doing, which is that I'm going to go on to the second half of this Etude by Dotzauer. Or, not an etude. It is a capriccio. I'm going to flip this back. Ah, nice. I love this one. Hey Adam, Dall'Abaco number 2. I've actually never played number 2. I don't even know what it sounds like because not that many people have recorded it. Looking at it now, G minor-y looking like. Looks nice. I've just never looked at it. I mean, actually, to be fair, I probably looked at it a long time ago when I first discovered these pieces a few years ago, and I was choosing some to have a recital with and to record. Still F sharp. Well, I'll have to check this one out. I've never done it, but I will sometime. Okie doke. So, where are we at now? I'm going to do one more Dall'Abaco. The first one, which is in C minor. Remember, still in practice mode. If you want to hear like the artistic interpretations and the real musical playing, you have to tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern, is going to be when I do my formal live stream of all this repertoire. So definitely come back tomorrow if you're around. But the archive will be up on YouTube, so you can watch it later. So let's keep moving right along to number 1. So probably before I actually play this first capriccio, I'm going to do some double stop warming up. This is C minor, so relative minor of the E flat we were just playing in. But there's a lot of string crossings, and a lot of times when you have string crossings, especially in a difficult key, it's great to practice them as double stops. So I'm going to play some double stops inspired by the first couple lines of this, and then I'll play it for real practicing. Sounds really bad, and it's because it's really old. It might be a year old at this point, which is a little too long for gut strings, but absolutely beautiful, this first Capriccio by Dall'Abaco. Definitely one of my favorites, and so many different ways to interpret it. You know, I've heard interpretations of it really fast. I actually like to play it pretty slow, but it really is beautiful. It's the Passacaglia bass line, which is, you know, huge in the Baroque. Kind of hard to go wrong. Such beautiful expressive chords. So yeah, I love this one. Hopefully you guys can tune in tomorrow when I play it for real and I'm not just kind of practicing. So my plan for tomorrow was gonna be those 4 Dotzauer Études, 2 of the Dall'Abaco. I forgot about Vitali, but I might not play Vitali today. I might just save Vitali for tomorrow. But I could use a little break before getting into Bach, since Bach is so dense. And by break, I just mean a cello playing break. I'm still going to be here. Oh, I don't know number 4 either, Adam. You're telling me about all these ones that I don't know, which is awesome, and I will check them out. Oh, I found another Dotzauer. I could do a whole concert of Dotzauer, to be honest. So many good little etudes. So when gut strings get old, the worst thing that happens to them is they get false, meaning they just can't really be fully in tune. I don't think I've ever had a string go false, but I have heard of that happening to violinists. Maybe the thinner strings go false more easily. Here comes Daisy the cat. Hello. She's like wondering why I'm not giving her any attention. So yeah, they can go false. That's probably the worst case scenario. They also can start to fray and eventually just break. I don't have that problem so much because I think what makes them fray over time is sweat. And I don't get sweaty hands, I get cold hands. So I don't tend to wear my strings out in that way. But really the worst thing that they get for me over time is that they just, they get more squawky. They don't ring as much. You're more likely to get too much like high-pitched squeaking instead of just nice ringing sound. Oops, there goes some Dotzauer. All right. So I've been streaming for about an hour, and I'm probably going to keep going because I really do need to practice the Bach for tomorrow too. So I'm just going to have some of my coffee, recharge a bit. Feel free to throw me your questions now or whatever you want to do since I'm taking a little mini break. So I'm going to repeat myself a bit, but in case you just tuned in or you tuned in recently, this stream is in preparation for my live stream tomorrow, which is going to be a little more formal. It's going to be like a concert playthrough of all of the solo music that I'm playing today. I will still be stopping in between certain pieces to take questions and respond because I like, responding to you guys in the chat. But it's going to be a little bit more formal because I'll really be playing the pieces all from start to finish. I won't be playing them in a practicey manner. I'll be playing them a little more musically. And the point of the stream tomorrow is to raise money for my relocation from Boston to Los Angeles. So I have a GoFundMe set up for that now. If you are interested in contributing in any way, the link for that is gofundme.com/EmilyPlaysCello, and it's also in the description of the video if you're curious to learn more about what my move is all about and what's going on. But yeah, I do a lot of stuff here on YouTube besides streaming, mostly recorded and produced videos, all on my Baroque cello and on Baroque instruments. Some of them are lessons, some of them are just performances of pieces. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of this whole thing. Let's see. My feelings on Boccherini. Boccherini is a lot of fun. I have to be honest though, if you're familiar with the kinds of music that I've recorded on my albums and a lot of the things that I have on my YouTube videos, I am not like, I don't want to say I'm not a virtuoso, but what we consider to be a virtuosic technique, especially on cello, thumb position, high, squealing. I am just not personally a fan of that kind of music. I don't like playing that way. I really am a continuo player at heart. I love playing bass lines and accompanying other instruments. So when I started playing solo music for the channel, I try to choose music that's really more oriented towards the lower register of the cello, more bass friendly. I really love the 17th century pieces. So Boccherini isn't my cup of tea per se, but it's still beautiful music. Like I like, listening to it. I've played continuo for other cellists, playing Boccherini sonatas. So nothing against Boccherini, but it's that type of technique and that type of playing is not my cup of tea personally. All right. Should probably move into Bach fairly soon. Maybe I'll get some more water, and then we'll get going on some Bach. I'm going to play the first suite. All right. I'm taking requests for repertoire that I have sitting on me. Bye, thanks for stopping by. Handel. Handel didn't write a lot of music for cello, like specifically for cello. I love Handel. I love, even Messiah is just, fantastic. I love playing his orchestral works, Concerto Grosso. I'm a big fan of Handel. But he didn't write anything for solo cello that I know of. There might be transcriptions or arrangements, but yeah, Handel didn't write enough cello music, in my humble opinion. Though, you know what I have on my channel? I don't know if it's even still up, because it's from my college undergrad recital. There's a Handel aria from Ariana and Creta, which must be an opera. I don't even know it. It's kind of bad to admit that, I guess. But it has an obligato solo cello part in the aria. So I played that in my undergrad recital. So it is possible that is there deep within my YouTube channel. You can try searching my channel, because you can search within a channel. So go to the page for my YouTube channel and search Handel and see if it comes up. It might be there. But yeah, other than that, I don't think I have much Handel. Okay, let's get going, because I'm getting tired. So Bach, first suite. Makes sense to start at the beginning, right? I guess I'll start with the prelude. The prelude feels, pretty natural to me. I don't know what I'm going to want to practice, but the last 4 measures, always a little challenging. Are you going to drink that? No? Hey, sweetie. Okay. All right. First suite prelude. I'm just going to play a bit, maybe a little under tempo, and just see what comes to mind to work on and to practice. Gotta get that first finger in tune. So one thing I noticed that I didn't like, it's a big moment in the eighth measure when we go to E minor, because we've been kind of hanging out in G major. Oh hey, welcome! My screen just dimmed so I can't see the chat stuff again. Thanks for joining. If you just joined, I feel bad for the people who've been here a while because I keep repeating myself. I'm practicing for my big live stream tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, which if you are not on Eastern Standard Time in the States, that would be tomorrow, but let's see, 2.5 hours earlier than right now. Tomorrow, 2.5 hours earlier than right now is when I'm going to be streaming officially. But so one of the things I didn't like that I did is I think it's a big moment when we finally go to E minor at the beginning of this prelude, and I try to always take a moment when I get to that E, but I don't always do the best job controlling the string crossing after that. I end up on the D string too soon, and I don't get the G in there. So let's see if I can fix that. Yeah, it's a hard thing to time because basically I'm using some rubato on that E, and because I've slowed down there, I have to kind of go quick to make up for that lost time, and in doing that, I tend to gloss over the G, which is the fifth in the chord, and I don't want to do that, so I'm going to try again. I got to get my 2 down sooner also. One more time. Still not getting it. Yeah, important measure, at least to me, I like to bring out that E minor. Okay, hey Kevin, thanks for tuning in. How many Bach suites do I play? Well, that I've officially studied, I've really only studied and completed and performed in their entirety the first suite, the second suite, and the fourth suite. The third suite I've played, but I have never performed the entire suite. The fifth suite I haven't, and that was a dream of mine for a while to do the fifth suite, but just really studying and performing a whole Bach suite is actually a pretty big undertaking if it's your first time doing it, so I haven't gotten around to it. And then the sixth suite is really intended for 5-string cello, so if I were to play the sixth suite, I would really want to get my hands on a 5-string instrument to do that. Try practicing it dotted. You know, yeah, the dotted rhythm, I assume this is what you mean. Long, short, and short, long is one of my favorite ways to practice things. So I'm assuming you mean... And then the other, so that was long, short, right? Long, short, long. So now I'm going to do short, long. Sounds crazy, but that practice tip really does work. I typically don't think to do it when there's a slur written in, but on separate bow 16th notes, I'm constantly practicing that way. But a lot of these are separate bows, so it makes sense. Oh, my kitty is getting so restless, I can just tell. I'm going to get her some water. Guys, the cat comes first. She's a priority in this house. Look at her. She's such a good girl. I'm going to get you some water. Okay. Here you go, my princess. It's just water. She's excited. I think she thinks it's food. It's just water, honey. Here you go. Okay, well, now that I'm taking a cat maintenance break, I'm going to give her some food too, but then I'm really going to get back to Bach. Okay, here you go. All right. Back to the task at hand. I'm glad you guys like Daisy. She's a very important part of my life. All right, let's see if I'm any better at that E minor spot now. And then let's keep the ball rolling, or else I'm gonna be here all day. Thank you, Daisy says thank you for all the nice words. I was still bad at it after all that. This is always one of the most annoying spots when I first started studying this piece, because it's like, how do you make a bunch of downward scales interesting? And like, is it possible to make it interesting without completely stretching and warping the time? Worst chord, always. play this in fourth position, or if I want to go up, because of course we all know the pinky is our weakest finger, and having that really important G on our pinky when we have to use, usually, especially me, I have a tiny skinny pinky, you can use the third finger to support the fourth finger, but of course when you're playing this chord and you have your third finger on the D string, you don't have that support, so you've got just your pinky for that really important G. So finding a way for that G to still really ring and be fully supported. It is, of course, easier if I switch to a 1 and a 2. But I like being in fourth position because then you've got everything right there. So why don't I just try it again? Yeah, I just don't like the sound of my A string, but I gotta do my best. One of the problems if you've played something on modern cello before, and then you switch to Baroque cello and your approach is kind of different, and that's of course the case with the first suite. I studied it when I was in high school, and one of the biggest things that I've struggled with in switching is where to put the B natural, because I got used to whatever, some sort of equal temperament B natural, and then you switch yourself into tempered tuning, and now the B natural needs to be lower, and then you're constantly battling, like I'm trying to make the B natural lower, oh, it's too, now it's flat, and trying to figure out exactly where you want that B to be, even at the beginning. I remember the first time that I heard a period recording of the first suite, and the prelude started, I was just like, oh my god, the B is really flat, but that's, if you're going for a more mean tone tuning, you're going to have a lower B natural. And it's one thing in first position where it's an easy adjustment, but once you're in fourth position on the D string and everything is kind of darker in your timbre, figuring out exactly where you want your B natural is harder than it seems. Anyway, that last chord of the prelude, I would say, is the most stressful part of the entire suite. Easily, for me at least. Okay. Looking forward to the concert tomorrow. Thanks. Yeah, I hope some of you guys who are tuning in today can make it tomorrow for the more formal performance now that you've seen the behind the scenes. But yeah, for now, let's keep moving on from the prelude. In case I get too exhausted and want to stop streaming before I get through the suite, I'm going to jump around a little bit now. So I'm going to go to the courant. That's one that always needs practicing because this is fast. And I'm going to play a little mechanically and just kind of work on the technique of the 16th notes for this. I'm really going to do that ornament. I really like it. It's a little aggressive, but I don't mind. Oh, there goes Daisy. One point I want to make about this D sharp, if you're familiar with this movement. A lot of modern editions have trills written in, which are fine if you want. But just know, here comes the cat. Just know that if you have a dissonant note, your trill is actually softening the dissonance. So if you want to actually bring out the dissonant note, you shouldn't trill on it. Or you should maybe do one of the versions without the trill, because it actually allows the real dissonant note to come through. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. They think trilling is just adding more flair, but if your original root note is dissonant, then the trill takes away from that dissonance just a bit. Oh yeah, tempered tuning. Sorry, I missed that question. So basically, before like grand pianos and stuff was really standardized, the way things were tuned is a little different than the way they're tuned now. Now that we have pianos and everybody has pianos everywhere, musically speaking, pianos are made so that every half step is exactly the same amount of sense different. So you have like kind of we call it equal temperament. But back in the day, things were actually tuned more about what we call pure intervals, and when an interval is pure, it actually creates more overtones and makes more resonance. So if you talk to a harpsichord player or someone that's really well versed in different kinds of temperaments, they could be way more specific than I am. But the general idea is that certain intervals, especially thirds, are tuned slightly differently to create more resonance, and you can even hear it on string instruments when you are playing pure intervals. So the kind of basic tuning that we think of for early Baroque is called mean tone. But there are so many different ways to go about approaching these temperaments. But for the purposes of me playing on an instrument where there's no absolute pitches, basically the quick and easy way to play in a temperament is make your major thirds a little bit lower and your minor thirds a little bit higher. And that kind of gives you that effect of playing in a temperament. So if you were to play with a piano, you would sound really out of tune. But the idea is that a piano is actually an out-of-tune instrument. It's standardized that everything's the same, but nothing actually rings pure the way temperaments do. So I can try doing it now. So what I'm going to do is play a couple versions of an F sharp with an A, which is a major third, and you can hear the differences as I adjust the pitch. So I would call that fairly pure. That might be closer to equal. And actually, if I were to take my electronic tuner, let's do it this way. Let's make sure I'm in tune first. Here is a 415A. Okay, so now I'm going to find an F sharp that I think is pure, and then I'll play an equal temperament F sharp, and we'll see how different they are. So let me first I'm going to turn the volume down, get this over to an F sharp, so we can do our reality check. Okay. pure. There's my F sharp. Let's see what the equal temperament F sharp is. Not exactly the same. So now I've got my equal temperament F sharp. Does not ring as well with the A as the lower one. There we go. So it's something that, you know, your ear adjusts to. I know a lot of people who do a lot of modern playing and they're really used to equal temperament. They hear temper tuning and think like, oh God, that's out of tune. But I personally think it sounds better and more. I think equal temperament sounds out of tune a lot of the time. So, you know, it's a very fine detail. I think especially non-musicians, shouldn't even be a factor. You know, you should just listen and enjoy the music regardless of temperament. But if you are a musician, it's kind of interesting to know about. All right, back to the courant. Getting very sidetracked, but that's good. That's what this is about. Okay, well, I feel somewhat familiar with all this music, as I should be. Maybe I'll go to the jig because, I don't know, I actually find some of the jig stuff can be a little bit technically difficult. Oh, 432 versus 440, Baroque use different frequencies. Yeah. Okay, so about Baroque pitch. In modern day, we've decided that the official Baroque pitch is 415, which is a half step lower than our normal A. So that's what we use for the most part for historical playing. That being said, the pitch level for A was different all throughout Europe. Different cities had different pitch levels. A lot of times the pitch level was based on whatever the organ in the middle of the town was. You know, however that organ was pitched, all the local instruments of that town tuned to that organ, and that was that. So it really did vary a lot. There's evidence that in Italy, A was even higher than 440. A lot of us know in France, they often use 392 for their A, which is quite low. And there was probably even some from 440 going around. We do, again, a modern day practice is that we often play classical repertoire at 430, which is like an awkward in-between A and G sharp zone. There actually isn't a ton of evidence to support that classical music was played at 430. It's just kind of the idea that if we're in around 415 for the Baroque, and we're moving upwards in pitch as time passes, that 430 is kind of a middle ground for classical repertoire. But again, it was not very standardized. So for our own modern day practices, we don't really have a good like automatic go-to. So we sort of created, okay, 415 is our Baroque pitch, 440 or 442 is modern pitch, 430-ish is classical pitch. So that's sort of, you know, what people operate on, but there's not really hard and fast evidence on all of that. Yeah, I mean, the way that we know about which pitches survive are from instruments, unlike string instruments, surviving instruments like organs or maybe wind instruments that still have, you know, are maintaining relatively the same pitch over hundreds of years. All right, on to some jig. And then I'm probably going to wrap up soon. I think I've been streaming for about an hour and a half. So if you just tuned in, or you tuned in recently, this stream is in preparation for tomorrow's official, more formal concert stream, which is a fundraiser for my relocation from Boston to Los Angeles. So today was all about kind of practicing the repertoire and being casual, talking about it, etc. Tomorrow I'll be playing through all this music, really start to finish, but I will be stopping in between pieces to take questions and interact with you guys. So if you want to tune in tomorrow, the stream is at 2 p.m. Eastern Time here on my YouTube channel. And everything is getting directed to my GoFundMe page, which is where I'm going to be accepting tips and donations. If you want a tip for the stream, or you want to help support me in my move, or just learn more about my relocation, you can go to my GoFundMe. It's gofundme.com/EmilyPlaysCello, and the link is also in the description of the video. So if you want to help me out, that would be awesome. If you just want to enjoy the stream, that's fine too. All right, let's do some jig. Gonna go a little under tempo and just think about things a little bit. Let's do that again. Yeah, I always feel like it's a little finger twister, the little sequence at the end. Thank you for the comment on my shirt. One of my students got me this. Yeah, it's cool, right? All right. Maybe let's end with some music. What would be good? I'll just play something through. Maybe I'll end, and so I'm going to wrap up after this. So if you guys have any other lingering questions or thoughts or comments, feel free to throw those in the chat now. There is a little delay from what you are hearing from me, and then, so, you know, of course, I'll respond to them once I see them, but there'll be a little bit of delay. So while I'm playing this minuet, feel free to throw your questions in there, and then we're going to wrap up the stream for today, and hopefully I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow at the official stream. I'm going to play the minuets. This is Bach's first cello suite. I might omit some repeats for now. If you want all the repeats, you'll have to tune in tomorrow. And there we have it, a little Bach minuet. Nice way to close things off. All right, bye everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm glad you find this useful, somewhat helpful, or interesting, or whatever. So yeah, hopefully I'll see some of you guys tomorrow. If not, I'm going to be doing more live streams like this, and of course I have my regularly scheduled YouTube videos. Okay. Yeah, thank you guys seriously for tuning in. And remember, if you can't make it to the actual stream tomorrow, it will eventually be archived on YouTube so you can watch it later. But of course, watching it live is always more fun, and then you can participate a little bit, which is great. So yeah, so thanks again, you guys, for tuning in. And I think I'm going to be signing off for today. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.